Hey everybody, welcome back to Mary Bird's Backyard Garden. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mary.
And we are happy to have you guys back with us for another week of Mary Bird's Backyard Garden.
We are. And we are joined in the podcast today by two little stinky dogs that have been running outside in the wet weather.
And we are hoping that they behave under our feet here as we podcast today.
Everybody keep hoping.
It's hit and miss here. I think they're going to be okay. But if they hear a sound somewhere,
oh boy,
we may have an interruption. But hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
So it has been a fun week.
It has.
And I've got to ask you, I got to start out with it, Mary. What's new in the garden?
Coming to the end of January, we're likely to have one more really cold snap. So I'm kind of holding off a little bit and doing a lot in the garden. What's new is that we need to get our bird feeders filled up.
Yes, we do.
That's one thing that we need.
The birds have been coming back.
Or
whatever they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. They're out there, though.
Oh, they are. And we had a beautiful cardinal, and they are harvesting the berries off of the Burford hollies in the front yard. And a lot of the berries around our neighborhood, flocks of birds have been flying through and getting them.
Yeah,
so
we got to get their. We have some bird food. We need to get it out there. Bird seed.
We certainly do. So that is one good thing, and also we got to talk about the weather, Jeff.
We always we do. That's what we do now. We're weather people.
We are weather people, and we never used to be weather.
No, we used to make fun of them.
If it was going to delay a baseball game.
Yeah, if it interrupted sports or any of that,
was a big topic.
We did. But that was a more rain. Or let's be honest, we live in Texas, and we did when it was extended heat waves. But
we never stopped for the extended heat waves.
Well, we didn't stop, but we did talk about them. And now that's what we're at the age where we talk about weather all the time.
We do.
I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifferent, but it's what we do.
It's delightful.
It's what we do. I don't know what else to say.
The weather today has been one of my favorite times. It's very soggy and foggy. It's probably not a good day to be driving around, but as far as walking around, taking a photo opportunity, it's excellent.
And we did
really
that this morning. We took a little jaunt out in the neighborhood.
Do you think you got some good photos?
I think so. My battery is pretty low, so I need to charge it before I can offload the photos. But I think we did okay. And it was nice and foggy and wet, and it was fun.
It was fun. I loved it. Tromping around through the wet, foresty area.
Yeah.
Looking at water droplets hanging off of plants. That's something that I dearly love.
Very nice. I liked it.
Yeah. But my challenge is to get it off of the camera and onto a platform where we could actually use it.
Yes.
And look at them. So that is a technology
and I'm going to help you with that. I'm going to help you with that. Yes.
I know you're my IT guy.
Yeah, I am the IT guy. I'm going to help you with that.
You're great. Well, the only other thing that I have for what's new in the garden is we have plans to get out this coming Friday, and we're going to tootle around town. I really want to look for onion sets as one of our first things to start planting in. This is the time to do that. I'm probably a week late to get those in, but I think that is one of the things that's on my list.
And I actually like onions, so look at that.
Very good. Let's give it a try.
Not that I'm picky, but I do like the onions.
Give it a try.
All right.
I like it.
And
yes, I'm looking forward to getting our little raised bed garden all fixed up. So I think that's about all I have for what's new. How about you? Do you have any?
I don't think I have anything. We've been, weather. What can I say?
Yeah.
But it's been fun kind of getting out. We did take some pictures, and actually I like the colder weather and I like the winter. So I'm enjoying it. Let me just say that. I like to sit in my office and kind of look out the window, and right now it's foggy, so it's really kind of cool,
That's
which is odd for the
amazing.
afternoon. But
So amazing. Yeah.
no, I think that's about all I got right now.
Me too. That's very good. Well, on one of our little trips out of the house last week, this doesn't fall under what's new. This is kind of our topic of the day. We ran into a new cookbook. And, we've been getting interested in using a lot of the produce that we're growing in the garden and trying new dishes, trying to cook a little bit more at home. And January is a perfect month to do that because all of your events have already taken place. You're not running like a crazy chicken trying to shop for gifts and wrapping and all that stuff. And it's so nice to take a downtime and try to get to do some more home cooking. I like that. We discovered a cookbook. The author is Dan Pelosi, and the title of the cookbook is Let's Eat, 101 Recipes to Fill Your Heart and Home. And you shocked me. You shocked me.
I will say we have a lot of cookbooks.
We have a lot of
cookbooks. And we've done a lot with. This one we've already made 2 of the recipes, and the recipes are kind of cool in there. I kind of like them. Of course, I'm Italian, so I do like the Italian spirit of it.
Mm-hmm,
but
that's true. It's a very lighthearted book.
It is. Yeah. It is, and it's not. It doesn't call. A lot of the cookbooks, they call for like ingredients that are, I don't know, odd. I don't know what else to say. Not odd, but you just
hard to find,
and they're not something that. Some of it just doesn't appeal to me, but this one uses regular ingredients. Got a lot of recipes. Like I said, we've tried a couple that they're 2 for 2 on the recipes, I think. And
excellent recipes.
Yeah, we've
to say
we've enjoyed them. One was a pasta recipe, and one was a giant Italian sandwich, which sounds weird. I'm going to say this up front. That sounds weird to say. Yeah. You need a recipe to make a giant Italian sandwich, but it had aioli in it, and you have to make the aioli, and it was really good. It came out really good, and
delicious.
Let
me tell you, we have never done that before.
No, we hadn't.
So it was an adventure.
It was, and it had what was the ingredient in it that you thought I didn't think I would eat either?
In the aioli in the pasta?
In the aioli.
Sardines. Anchovies.
Anchovies, not sardines. Jeez.
That's what they were.
It had anchovies, and
it did.
I got to be honest, that's not something I would just like voluntarily eat. But
I know.
You use them in the mix to make the aioli, and came out really good.
Delicious.
It was great. It was great, and I even had a little leftover this morning. It was very good.
Now the recipes, are large enough where you probably would have leftovers, but
yes.
It's great. But the one recipe that I wanted to kind of talk about today was the pasta recipe.
Yes.
We had gotten a new baking dish. It's about a 13 by 9. And Jeff picked this pasta recipe out because it fit in that baking dish. And we wanted to give it a try. I was very surprised because the ingredients are not anything that you would put on a grocery list.
No.
For yourself. They're not hard to find. They're very common ingredients. Yeah. And but they came out so good. And one of the ingredients was broccolini. Was not hard to find, and the spears were delicious. They were very tender. We went to Sprouts, a local little market, and so broccolini, frozen peas.
Had the peas in it, yeah, which was different.
Jeff
worked good.
Not a vegetable person.
I'm not.
But, I do think the star of the dish was the asparagus.
It was. So what was cool, which I like, is that it does have a lot of vegetables and a lot of things you can grow in your garden, obviously, and use as well. So that was kind of neat. and they came out really well. I think we've enjoyed them.
Mm-hmm.
So far, like I said, we're 2 for 2 on these things. There's a lot more recipes that look cool in there too.
Yeah.
But that one was a good one.
That was a highlight, I have to say. The way he made it, your vegetables do not turn out mushy. They have a crispness to them. Actually, you remarked on that while we were eating, and the flavor really comes through. He does use mint in his recipe, which at first I was like, I don't know, but yes, you really needed it in the dish.
Yeah,
it really came together.
Like I said, well. It's it's definitely a it does tie in with the garden because a lot of garden vegetables that you could grow yourself and pull in there. So it was. That's why
great. I wanted to really bring this cookbook to the table today. It's a very fun cookbook. Lots of good ideas in there. I'm looking forward to it.
I would highly recommend this one. I think it's something you can go to whatever grocery store you go to and get the ingredients. You don't have to go to any specialized places.
Right.
Which is nice.
Well, one of the main things in this cookbook that's very appropriate right now in Central Texas is the asparagus.
Yes.
And I thought that we would kind of talk about that today. We've had asparagus in our little food type garden for going on 5 years now. And we are just now reaching the stage where we can actually harvest the spears because asparagus is a very, very long-lived perennial. But after you plant it, you need to give it a generous amount of time so that you can harvest the spears and not kill the plant. You need it to really establish a good root system. But it led me into asking where does asparagus come from? Why do we eat this plant? I mean, who would think of walking around and chopping off something, a little spike coming out of the ground?
No, you're right. You're right. It wouldn't be
on it.
It wouldn't be something you would just unknowingly say, "Look, that looks pretty good."
I know.
That's interesting.
But asparagus has been with us for an amazingly long time. So it is. It was, described like there's an Egyptian frieze on I guess maybe in a tomb or in one of their houses that they have determined they're depicting asparagus. And this frieze happens to date back to 3000 BC.
Wow.
And from there, you find a lot of mention of it in the Greek history. They really cultivated, they were really instrumental in beginning to cultivate it. And I'm sure that other people did before that. But, that's where we have a description. So they're kind of bringing it in from the wild at that point. And further on from that, interestingly, the Romans loved it. I mean, it was one of their valuable delicacies that they had. And the Greeks are kind of known for the naming the asparagus, meaning stable. I'm sorry, not stable. I can't read my own writing. Meaning stalk or shoot.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was also known way back in history in Syria and throughout Spain. Well, the Romans, as they moved about and they conquered different territories or they expanded their empire, took asparagus with them. And so that's how it went into France, Europe, how it went up into Britain, and those places began to cultivate it. And the Romans grew it in their walled vegetable gardens. And so then from there, of course, it was grown. It kind of lost a lot of its history for a while, but it's sort of thought that during medieval times, it was grown in the monasteries in their walled gardens. And finally, you begin to hear more commonly about it in the French writings and culture. And common people, what they used to say common people, but,
commoners.
Yeah, commoners. But I suppose another way of saying it, a common name that they used to call it is sparrowgrass.
Oh.
And probably it comes from, hearing asparagus and just making up a cute name for it, But after that, it came to the Americas with the colonists. And that's pretty interesting that they traveled and carried it with them, right?
Yeah, it is.
And so in the 1700s, that was when it is thought to have arrived in North America. And then it took until the 1850s to travel its way across the United States and into Northern California.
Wow.
That's when you begin to find it recorded. It's just beautiful. It's useful. It's not hard to grow at all. Really, it's a plant it and harvest and enjoy plant, It's very feathery, frondy, and I think it's just lovely.
And it's actually one of the vegetables I like.
And it's
what?
But you've developed the taste for it as you got older.
Yeah, probably.
You did.
Yeah. I'm less picky than I used to be.
You are. And more adventurous.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I give you all credit.
All right.
And you will be a chef much more now that I know how well you can do it.
There you go. Thank you.
But here in Central Texas, one of the main reasons that I'm bringing this up is that this is the best time if you have an asparagus patch in the backyard, and I didn't trim mine back in the fall. I let it last through the winter so that it could store lots of energy in the ground. And now is the time you want to go out there and you want to cut back all of the feathery fronds so that you can get that energy compacted into the ground to shoot up your asparagus shoots.
Nice.
I'm really looking forward to doing.
No, we haven't
harvest.
cultivated any yet, right?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We have it in the backyard. It's about 5 years old now, and this is going to be like our first real harvest.
Ooh, okay.
So at about 3 years, you can take a very, very few shoots, 3 or 4 years. But after that, you've probably established your good patch.
Good
and it
grief.
lives a very long time.
5 years, Mary.
I know.
It's not my ideal kind of plant.
It is your ideal.
Not for 5 years.
You're going to enjoy it.
Okay. Well, I am now because we're in year 5. But
That's right. So if you're going to plant your asparagus, we have the green variety. And in my research, I understand there are over 300 different varieties of asparagus. Ours is probably your common green variety. It's so long ago now, I have lost the tag. But you want to plant it where it gets like 8 hours of sun per day. And as everybody knows that listens to us, we really do not have very deep soils here. So it does really well if you could provide it with deep, rich soils to grow out, because the root system can get 10 to 15 feet deep if you have that available.
Wow.
And the plant over time can get 5 or 6 feet in diameter if you let your patch get that big. You don't have to. And then you want to plant it in full sun. It's just so easy. It is just growing out there. We really don't have we just don't have any problems getting it to grow. And I enjoy it throughout the whole year. It sends up a very tall, feathery, beautiful stalk or beautiful fronds that capture the sunlight and grow. And it's ornamental and edible.
And after 5 years, we get to eat it.
You are going to get to eat some this year? Yes. Actually, that brings me to something else I learned.
Okay.
Asparagus is a delicacy, and the Romans would actually dry the spears. And I didn't read how they did that. I imagine they laid it across a table maybe and let it dry. And then when they got ready to eat it later on, they would rehydrate it and cook it and eat it that way. That's what one source said. And another source said that they used to, they would freeze it and then they would ride on a horse very fast to get it back to whoever was going to have it.
Wow.
And they would cook it up. So it is something that you want to harvest and eat that day. And it doesn't last.
Yeah.
It's not a long-lasting vegetable.
Okay.
And it is said that Julius Caesar ate asparagus with melted butter.
Well, look at that.
So it is a plant that goes back into antiquity.
That's pretty crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
That's pretty cool. I like the history on them. I like all the history on this
too.
stuff. Like when they're not invented, but they were found and named. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of interesting to know about.
Right?
Yeah, it is. I didn't know that they take 5 years, though, to grow till you can eat them.
You have to be patient.
Woof.
But it's worth the patience.
Well, now that we're here at 5 years, I'm happy. When you planted it, you didn't tell me, Jeff, you have to wait 5 years.
You will be waiting 5 years.
I think I'm more happy to know that we're at 5 years and that it will be ready this year.
Actually, I would love to find an Italian purple variety. It's said to be especially good with a very rich and nutty flavor.
Nice.
So
okay.
I do think that the plant, if I can really recall, is a Martha Washington variety that I planted back there. So
okay.
Yeah.
I love the names. Just FYI.
I know. It's very interesting, right?
Good stuff. The names are cool on plants. I got to give you that. I like it.
Well, it is one of the one of the sources that I found said that a very original name, asparagus, or another variety, I don't know how you spell it, came from the Persian language, and that the Greeks adopted that name. And so we say today that the asparagus comes from the Greek. So that's a little bit further back in time, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. It is very interesting, right?
It is very, very interesting. And all this is because we made a pasta dish that had asparagus in it.
An amazing pasta dish.
And then I do like asparagus with steak with butter on it. I'm just like Julius Caesar, by the way.
I know.
I like it with butter on it.
You are just like Julius Caesar.
I do like asparagus, so.
I think one way that I might try making it is to peel or take off the very outer stalk. Oh, I did want to say this. When you are cooking your asparagus, what you do is you don't cook the whole asparagus because down at the bottom it's very woody and hard to chew. So you just take the end where it's been cut and a little further up, and you bend it. And if you get a crisp snap, then that's the part, the upper tender part you cook. The lower part that's not very chewable, you can put back into your garden as energy for, put it, compost it.
Yeah. No, I know what you meant. I didn't think you meant it was a seed. It's not a seed.
It's not
but
a
it can
seed.
be composted.
Yes. But you can take the hard outer coverings off of your asparagus and roast it in an oven. Oh, I don't know. I'd probably say 350 degrees. and get it nice and roasty and some olive oil and salt and pepper and then squeeze some lemon over the top. There you go.
Oh, that actually really sounds pretty good. Yeah. I'm going to hold you to that one.
Okay. I like it.
All right.
Well, that's all the information I have for the asparagus today, but I do encourage you to try this recipe.
Yeah, absolutely. What else you got?
That's all the information I have on the asparagus today.
No more asparagus. That was good.
Jeff.
Yes. Oh, yes, Mary.
Did you have something for Jeff's
I may have something. Mary, can I ask you a question?
You sure can. Is it Stump the Mary Bird?
No, this isn't going to stump you.
Okay.
Have you ever thought of growing your own ingredients for a craft cocktail?
Wow.
I know I'm the cocktail guy here. For week 2.
Okay.
And
what would they be?
Well, let's talk today about infusion. Do you know what infusion is? A cocktail infusion.
Talk to me.
We're going to talk about a cocktail infusion, which is the process of steeping ingredients like herbs, fruits, spices, tea, coffee even, into a base spirit. So the spirits you mostly want to use is like a vodka, a rum, a gin. You know, if you look at gin, they have a lot of infused ingredients in them, whiskey, and even tequila. So you do that to extract the flavors and create a unique, customized drink.
Interesting.
So what you're basically doing is you're infusing alcohol with the flavor of the ingredients that you put in it.
When you're talking to me about infusing, what does that mean? That it, like if I put it in a saucepan and heated it over the flame, I think the alcohol would evaporate, right?
Well, thank you for asking, Mary. I'm going to tell you what all this is.
Oh, yay.
So really, you can do this. So you can, obviously, you can go to a store and buy your own mixes and syrups and things. But to do it yourself is pretty cool. It's not hard to do.
Oh, interesting.
So here's how it works. So you add whatever herb, spice, fruit, botanicals, whatever, to the alcohol, whatever alcohol you choose. And the alcohol acts as a solvent. So it pulls out the essential oils and the flavors and the aromas from the ingredients. And so over time, it results in a flavored spirit that you can use in cocktails, to use it to enhance the cocktails.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of the common ingredients that you can use for a cocktail infusion, you can use herbs. And so there's a lot of this stuff you can find in your garden. So you can use mint or basil, rosemary, thyme, lavender, any of those. You can use fruits as well. So berries, lemons, oranges, apples, peaches, pineapples.
Wow.
You can go with spices. So if you go to the store and look at all these mixes you can buy, you can you'll see how many are out there. There's a lot of them out there. And this allows you to do them on your own. So you can use
that's great.
Any kind of spice like cinnamon, cloves, star anise.
I didn't know
peppercorn. And then if you look at a lot of the gins, a lot of those guys have flowers in them. So you can use lavender, hibiscus, rose petals. And you can use a combination of all these, right? You can use green tea, black tea.
Interesting.
You can use even vegetables, which cucumbers, chili peppers, but we've gone out and a lot of drinks are cucumber based, and even chili here in Austin, chili peppers. So you can use any of those.
I did. You know what? Now that you're talking about this, we were at a restaurant and I tried a cucumber.
You did.
Margarita. Well, okay.
So all those things you can use and mix, and then you can kind of mix to your own profile. So, basically what you do is you choose whatever the base spirits can be. So you want to pick something neutral, like a vodka, gin, or rum. And honestly, gin kind of is the best.
Oh, okay.
Or something that kind of complements the flavor.
Mm-hmm, okay.
I mean, you want something neutral. You don't want anything like crazy strong. So vodka is great for infusions as well. Gin will add botanicals to the infusion due to its gin profile. And then you pick your flavoring ingredients. So, I mean, what are you looking for? Do you want a fruity infusion? Then you maybe add strawberries, some kind of citrus.
Oh, yes.
If you want herbal, then you go with a rosemary, a mint, a thyme. Or if you want like a spicy kick, then, maybe ginger, jalapeno, any of those other type of spices that we talked about.
Wow.
And it's crazy easy to do. So what you do is you want to use a clean glass jar, kind of like a mason jar, to add your flavoring ingredients. And you don't want plastic. It's got to be glass. And then you pour the spirit. So let's take, gin. You pour the gin over the ingredients and then till they're fully submerged. And then, the amount actually of the ingredients is really depending on how strong you want the flavor to be. But you should fill the jar about halfway with your flavoring and top it off with the alcohol.
Oh, okay.
Right. And then you seal it and shake it.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a good shake. Make sure everything's mixed. And that helps the infusion process start. And then you let it sit in a cool, dark place like a cupboard.
Oh, my goodness.
So it can sit anywhere from several days to a week. You want to shake it about every couple days to mix the flavors. The length of time it needs to sit really is depending on what you're doing. So if you're using fresh herbs and fruits, it's maybe 2 to 4 days. If it's a spice or a citrus peel, it might be anywhere from 5 days to 2 weeks.
Okay.
But you have to, every few days, kind of give a little taste. So if it's to your liking, you strain it. You want more intensity, let it sit longer.
Wow.
And then once it has reached where you want, you strain out the solids using a fine mesh strainer. And you store the infused spirit in a clean bottle or jar and ready to use it in cocktails.
I think we should give this a try.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Last week you had talked about a blackberry.
We did.
Drink, and we are coming into blackberry season here in Texas.
Yeah.
It might be really good.
And I think it would be. So just a couple ideas you can use for if you use mint, I have a mint infused vodka. It might be a mojito.
Oh.
Or it's like a twist, some kind of a vodka lemonade. And, you'd use the mint leaves and the vodka and then, make that. You can use a citrus and ginger infused rum, a spiced apple whiskey, which is interesting.
Wow.
Or a rosemary and grapefruit gin for a gin and tonic. Even with lavender, you can infuse that with, have a lavender infused vodka, right? And there's a cocktail called the Lavender Collins out there that you can make. So,
wow.
Yeah, lots of stuff. So just some tips to kind of help out. Start small. Don't go crazy. If you're new, start with a small batch, like 1 or 2 cups of alcohol to get a feel for how the ingredients impact the flavor. Use fresh, high-quality ingredients, which is why a lot of this stuff, if you find out in your garden, it'd be great. You pull some of those herbs out and fruits or spices. Make sure it's filtered well. And then just experiment and see what you like. I mean, it's we're talking low cost here. And you can do, mix and match whatever fruits, herbs, spices, and, you're not trying to match a flavor. You're really trying to come up with something that you like.
Right.
And make sure you store it, you want to make sure it's stored. So once you strained it, you got to store it in a sealed glass in a cool, dark place. It'll keep for several weeks to months, but always make sure you test it to make sure it's still good. So it's a fun way. I mean, it's a fun way to kind of, we talked last time about making mocktails with non-alcoholic drinks too. And it's the exact same thing. So when you go out or if you're making drinks, chances are you're using some kind of flavoring or infusion that you've probably bought at the store. But this is a way to kind of have fun and make some yourself and
I like it.
See how it works.
I like it. I think we should do that. Yeah,
it looks cool. I'd be honest with you. We've bought the mixers and we've had infusion stuff, but this seems pretty easy to do. So we're gonna have to give it a shot.
Okay. Do you we talked?
No, you don't do. You don't muddle it or anything. You put it in, put the alcohol, and then shake it. And that way, you kind of let it all kind of seep by itself.
Okay.
You don't have to cook it, do nothing. You just put it in the bottle.
Oh, I definitely think we should give it a try.
Yeah. I mean, can't be much easier than that. I mean, literally just decide what you want to put in there and put some alcohol in there.
Okay.
So we'll give it a shot.
I like that. We'll have to report back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, in a couple weeks.
Maybe?
Give us a couple weeks to try it out. Yeah.
Jeff, that was an excellent Jeff's Corner.
And that, Mary, was Jeff's Corner.
I love it.
I know. It looks cool.
So is there anything you're looking forward to for next week? Coming to you live from Central Texas.
I'm not sure. I think we're going to run around on Friday looking, like you said, we're going to look at some stuff. And I guess we'll just go from there.
I'll float out a tiny little hint, I suppose. We're going to try the hugel culture method. We might have to talk about what the hugel culture is.
Hugel culture. Okay. God, I love the words.
Bringing it to you next week.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Nope. I don't have anything else on my end, Mary.
Yep. I think that is where I am in the garden this week as well.
Okay.
But I'm really getting excited for the spring season, and I hope you are too.
I am. It's I do like my winter, but
I'm enjoying the winter.
Yeah, but it's going to be over quickly here in town. I know some of you people out there.
I think we're going to have another cold snap.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I do think there's
a
possibility for a good cold snap. So just keep your eye on the weather.
I'll keep my eye on the weather.
Now, we did plant in some plants that were in November, but they seem to be doing very well through this last cold snap. So I have my fingers are crossed for a good outcome.
Okay.
Yep. So, keep an eye on your plants.
Absolutely. Well, if that's all you have, then again, I would like to thank everybody for joining us here at Mary Bird's Backyard Garden, and we appreciate y'all's support. And we look forward to having you join us next time. Here
Happy
on
gardening.
Mary Bird's Backyard Garden.
Mary Bird's Backyard Garden.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.